The most important thing, and General Jaiswal has indicated to that, and he's been a respected army commander, the fact of the matter is that the Indian Army, and I'm quoting Stephen Cohen, who is the original guru of civil-military relations as far as Indian Army concerned, and he has said that the one distinct element of Indian Army's civil-military relationship has been its lack of desire to influence the policy process. The Indian Army has always been an example to the developed world that in all the developing countries and the third world, this is the only professional army which has refused to get involved in the policy process or muscle flex its way into government.
That's true.
And more importantly, Arnab, the way the Indian Army is configured, it has 6 operational commands, each of them twice the size of the British Army. And each operational army commander, like General Jaiswal is a law unto himself. He cannot be told by the army chief to do something which is unconstitutional. They will not accept it even if it is being alluded that this was the design.
General Jaiswal.
Therefore, Arnab, I come to my final point, and that is that this indication that the army chief was planning to do this on 16th of January, it took everybody in the military establishment by surprise when he went to the courts. So how could he have planned this movement 2 weeks in advance? He would have let the cat out of the bag.
I want General Jaiswal to come in.
Stand to logic.
This is a very, very important point that Maruf is making. Vinod Mehta, coming to you. General Jaiswal, very important point he is making. He is saying that if any movement had to be ordered, let's take the Express story at face value. If this movement had to be ordered, there was a chain of command that had to be followed as per the command and control structure in India. There has to be a certain chain of command which has to be followed. It's not like the army chief decides and in isolation just the troops move and do something without informing the division commanders, battalion commanders or brigade commanders.
Yeah, Arnab, because the most important point, Arnab, which I just want to add to your question, a footnote, and that is the army chief can't pick up the phone and talk to a battalion commander.
I get your point.
He has to go through the chain of command.
I get your point. The Indian army does not function like that, does it? General Jaiswal, you've been an army commander.
You see, I'd like to tell you, the army commanders, they run the field army. Nothing can be done on stand-alone mode. They are shoulder to shoulder with the chief. He cannot on his own, and let's be very frank, I can't even dream of the chief even dreaming of it. How can he just plan something and the army commanders don't even know about it? The chain of command is violated, the troops are not told anything. My God, I mean, I just can't, I shiver thinking someone's extrapolation of this.
No, but they are saying, let's answer all the questions from operational terms. I want to ask General Qadian, Maru 1 minute. Maru 1 minute. General Qadian, one question with the Express story puts is...
Please allow me to...
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Please allow me to make one point.
Yes.
And that is, when a mechanized infantry unit moves, it needs to requisition vehicles and ammunition which has to have the division commander's approval.
Yes.
So a battalion commander, even if he's trying to be loyal to the army chief, can't move. Because it's Hisar cantonment, those of us who've served there, 48 Tatra vehicles moving with armored personnel carriers, my God, you can't sleep at night.
Would this conclusion have been drawn in a different environment, Vinod Mehta? It's happening once again in an environment.
Absolutely, Arnab, what I am saying to you is the operational absurdity of what is being suggested should not detain us any further, because, I mean, the distinguished panelists you have said have rubbished it. I think the more important question that we must ask is to identify those forces, and it's very easy to say civil-military relationship. I think that's a complete red herring.
Totally agree with you.
There are...
I totally agree with you on that. It's a complete red herring.
I think there is a very strong arms lobby in this country which is very well connected at the political level, at the Ministry of Defense level, and I'm sorry to say at some retired generals level.
But did the government panic?
And therefore any chief and if the chief tries to clean up the system, their dana pani will go away.
Yes. So
you must see this in terms of trying to get rid of a chief
I get your point.
Who is cutting their stomach?
I get your point. I think you have put it bang on. You put the question straight where it belongs. However, General Kadian, how do you think the chief is looking today? Chief has not said a word. Last week when he spoke on Tatra, everybody said that the chief is planting stories against the government. When he spoke about the bribe, there's a lot of lobbies spoke out against him. Today too, the chief is in Nepal. He's not said one word. So my question to you, General Raj Kadian, is if there is a fight, frankly, I don't know how far-fetched this story of a fight is. How is the army chief looking today? Will more and more people in the country come out and say that there is probably a serious attempt to vilify the chief of army staff?
Arnav, there obviously is. If he responded in the case of that revelation of the letter to the Prime Minister, because the finger was being pointed, certain irresponsible elements were pointing a finger directly him. So it was considered necessary. Today there is no finger pointing. The DGMO has clarified, the Army PIO has clarified. They are all speaking on behalf of the chief. And I think it is only discreet on part of the chief that when he is on a foreign soil, he shouldn't be getting involved into issuing any clarification. It has already been proved by all the speakers that such a kind of mischief or the hinted mischief in the article is neither operationally nor organizationally feasible. The way our system is organized, the army commanders are actually commanders of troops. They are known as commanders-in-chief, where the chief designation is only chief of the army staff. As per constitution, he is only a staff officer to the defense minister. So he is not in direct command of troops. But anyway, that apart, such a possibility is unthinkable in the Indian army. It could not have happened. The fact of movement of the unit may be correct, but they are just doing normal army maneuvers. The strike corps is, all army units do their perennial maneuvers whenever required, and they do it at short notice. They look for bad weather. The fog could not have been predicted 3 days in advance that they could inform the whole world. Somebody has failed to send the intimation in time to the civil authorities, so that's a small matter.
But this spin being put.
That's a very small matter. That is the issue we need to focus. Why is there a failure of communications?
Yeah, that's true. But you know, the spin being put, which is why tonight we are putting this headline out. Is it a scoop? Is it a spin? Or is it unfortunately a rehash? Because lots of the matter which is out in this Indian Express report has been part of the public domain. Maybe they didn't know about it. My last question to General Dhar is, General Dhar, you know, you have seen the spins that have been put. Some people are now deliberately trying to push this story saying, no, but the government was in panic. That reflects something. The people behind the story also are now saying, no, but the government was in panic. You see, that reflects something. We are not putting fingers at the chief, but they are saying the government was in panic. That's the story. Do you believe that angle? General Dhar, last word tonight before I go to a break.
Even a simple man who understands a bit of army, he would never think of this, that it is possible. Why? One, this country, the size of the country. Second, the SOP, the chief himself can do nothing unless he has consulted many other army commanders. Not 6 of them, but at least 4 of them. Nothing of that sort will happen.
Yes,
and the army commander would have never carried out such orders, even if he was directly told.
Absolutely, and we believe that.
I fail to understand why we are giving any. I have great regard for Mr. Shekhar, the chief of the paper. But what has happened to him, I think, please, I have made a request. I make a request to everybody. There are senior officers here in this panel. I'll make a request to them, and that we should forget this today and forget that there is something like a newspaper named whatever it is.
Yes, but General, we forget it today, but not before we demolish the belief that the government, that this country has an indisciplined army. That belief, that story, that rumor, whatever you call it, has to be 100% demolished, sir.
I am saying I am prepared to immolate myself if anyone says that this army is not a disciplined army. This army is 100% disciplined, dependable, and we have never touched politics. With some of us have been brought up in the political families, it has not affected us. You have seen my behavior throughout this, what has happened. I was the first one to say that the chief should resign and not get into this quagmire. But I changed myself. I consider him as my part of my heart, this chief, because he did so much for the Indian Army, so much for the country, that he has to be congratulated today. As far as the civil getting sort of nervous after hearing all this is wrong, because I saw the reaction of the defense minister when he was asked this question in Vizag.
Totally.
He said straight away, he said rubbish. Therefore, my request to everybody, they're all senior officers, General Qadian, all the army commander there, please sir, two army commanders.
Yes, sir.
I must say to them, for God's sake, let's forget about it.
And I think they all stand with you. I think everyone, Maruf Raza, General Qadian, General Jaswal, Vinod Mehta and myself, we all stand by your very strongly and well-articulated sentiment. General Dhar, yes sir.
And one thing for Mr. Pranab. Pranab, ek acha sa, we give it an end. That is, I must tell you something which is my habit. Zulmat shab mein mahtab ho tum, roz roshan mein aftab ho tum, bazm ahbab mein khuda ki qasam, raqs jam sharab ho tum. This is for you, Mr. Pranab, with all my love for the army, for the people, and for forgetting this what has happened.
Sir, I am...
Mr. Shekhar Gupta, for God's sake, come off it.
Sir, I am overwhelmed with your kind words, and we are all truly humbled by your experience. General, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Thank you, sir.